Okay, so, I have a confession to make. I love VeggieTales. Yeah, I seem to have lost my credibility. To give you some context, I grew up in a household where I couldn't watch Star Wars, well, until later, which you'd know that because you watched my first video, or even if you haven't, go watch it now. Same with Transformers and even SpongeBob. But the thing I was allowed to watch, you guessed it, VeggieTales. But this story isn't about me, it's about VeggieTales itself. More accurately, Phil Vischer and Big Idea Productions. But before we get to them, let's revisit the episode, shall we? According to the VeggieTales fandom, there are over 50 episodes of VeggieTales. And while all of these episodes have unique storylines and humor, well, except for the Netflix adaptation, which is pure garbage, am I right? I'll mainly be focusing on the story of Big Idea Productions and how everything went down.
Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
The years 1993 to 1999 were the best years for VeggieTales, not just comedy-wise, but also financial-wise for the company. They were selling at Walmart, at your major retailers, not just Christian bookstores as they were back in 1993, but they were branching out to all these different companies to sell their episodes. And honestly, that's pretty much the best it could get. And for a while it felt like they were unstoppable, until they weren't. But we'll get back to that later. I mean, I don't really expect much from the first VeggieTales episodes because it was just Phil Vischer and a few other people who worked on it with him. While the episodes aren't as good as I remembered, the silly songs definitely are, and maybe they're even better than I remembered them to be. I specifically remember when Larry tried to experiment with a different type of silly song, got fired from his job, replaced by a love song singing Gord, develops a crippling ice cream addiction, only to be hired back after getting a bunch of complaints from the Christian community.
Silly Songs is cancelled until further notice. Larry is greeted now by an agent of the Internal Revenue Service.
I'm from the IRS, and I've come to attack Shark.
In 1998, Big Idea dropped their distributor and went with Lyric Studios. This is what I mentioned earlier with them getting into Walmart and your big retailers. And with this, folks, they started to take off. And they took off hard, selling millions and millions of copies every year. VeggieTales at this point in time was perfected. The series didn't really have much to improve on because the jokes were funny, the line delivery was great, but there was a monster lurking under Big Idea that prevented it from becoming a competitor to Disney, Warner Brothers, and Nickelodeon. And it just happened to be finances. By the year 2000, it cost roughly
$1 million
to make one episode of VeggieTales, and sales had severely gone down from 1999, the previous year. Phil was hiring HR, PR, heck, anyone that could grow his company, and it came at a cost. Phil never anticipated the cost of his business skyrocketing, and the profitability that he once had became unprofitable. Of course, Phil wasn't concerned about this at this point because he cared more about challenging the media competitors at the time. He truly lost his vision on what his reason was to start the company in the first place, to spread the word of God to children in a way that was not only fun for Christian families, but for all families. Now, you might be wondering where VeggieTales is today, and a lot of things contributed to where they are now. To begin with, Big Idea was spending money they didn't have. They also had many HR problems, like the fact that some of the Christian staff began to persecute their non-Christian co-workers, which resulted in some of them leaving the company altogether. Now this and many other problems triggered many employees to leave Big Idea to work at other animation companies such as Blue Sky Studios to develop the upcoming Ice Age movie. The people who didn't leave the company on their own were mostly laid off due to the company's financial blunders. To complement their rapid spending, the feature-length movie that was in development was supposed to be well within budget, yet it cost over double the initial estimate. When the movie was released, it flopped, and Big Idea didn't see a cent from it. At this point, Big Idea was hurting badly, so in a last-ditch effort, Phil Vischer dropped Lyric Studios and was able to secure distribution rights with Warner Media. The only thing they didn't take into account was that Lyric was sold to Hit Entertainment, the creators of Barney.
Cha-cha, real smooth. That's how the law works.
Hit filed a totally bogus lawsuit over distribution rights, and in the end, they won, meaning Big Idea had to pay over, and Phil had to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Big Idea was then put up for auction and has switched hands over the years, and as of right now, it belongs to NBC Universal. Surprisingly, VeggieTales didn't change much under new leadership, but as it got passed down to different companies, it became less of a moral of the story cartoon, if you know what I mean. At one time during its many acquisitions, DreamWorks owned it, and almost killed it if it weren't for NBC acquiring the company in 2016. As time went on for VeggieTales, it became less creative, and honestly pretty bland. The Netflix adaptation didn't help either, with so many people going out of their way to critique the show. Let's just read some of these to get an idea of what people think, shall we? Francesca W says, 1 star. This is the saddest, most pathetic animation for kids. My child is not pleased in the slightest. They are disgusted. Disgusting! Have a great day. Momo says, I do not like this TV show because it's very racist and bad, and plus, the old one was better than the other one. Kai Aubert says, I watch this show every Saturday, so don't say things about this show, I'm glad we're clear. Plus, all of us are supposed to be Seventh-day Adventist.
You serious?
AKA Christians, so learn more about God and His Bible.
You pop this piece of crap in, and what do you get?
Now, we put all the colors together, red, blue, and green, which give...
Now, most people fall on the opposite sides of the spectrum of criticism for the Netflix adaptations. It's either, I love it and those who don't are bashing Christians, or I hate it and Netflix is trying to appeal to younger generations and they don't care about the people who watch the originals. That just goes to say that VeggieTales as a show and as a franchise has lost its flair when it comes to its audience. I believe one could say that it's only appealing to young children, and that's pretty much where they've chosen to market VeggieTales. Which, in general, isn't the best idea when you're considering rebooting a show that is loved by a wider spectrum of people.
Okay, I rigged the election!
Now that we've talked about VeggieTales' history, where is it today? You know how I said it was owned by NBC? Well, they rebooted VeggieTales again. The only problem is how you're able to watch it. You have to pay for a streaming service called Yippee.tv, which costs $8 a month, which is practically the same amount as Disney Plus, except Disney Plus is a wide variety of movies, shows, and almost all of Disney history in one streaming service. And Yippee only has the new VeggieTales and what? Monster Truck Adventures? But in conclusion, VeggieTales was a pioneer in 3D animation. it changed the lives of millions of people, but most importantly, it predicted modern internet humor.
In the future, entertainment will be randomly generated.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
I don't know. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Weed eater.
Now that's funny.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's funny because it's unexpected.
Well, whatever happened to it's funny because it's true?
2 + 2 = 4 is true, but not funny. Guys?
What is the solution to the equation 2 + 2?
I don't know. What does 2 + 2 equal?
Weed eater.
That's a good one.
If you want a more in-depth analysis, you can watch SaberSpark's video, which I have linked in the description. But anyways, and as always, thanks for watching.